one of the NES products.
Oh, it ain't gonna be long. The fucking prices on eBay are already plummeting.
I'm finding on eBay now. I think I saw one for 130. I'm gonna buy it for whatever. Turn all up.
What's going on, everybody? Sorry about that. We had a bit of a technical difficulty. While you were waiting for us to come back on the air, we were discussing the year that's been, the year that was in 2016.
Although I should add that me and Rob had a great conversation that will forever disappear into the nothing.
We had successfully discussed the top woman of NXT, the top tag team being the Revival. I think it's hard to argue with that. I think with the Revival, what you're looking at is a good tandem group. Technically sound. Nothing flashy, really. No flips, as they put it. Just fists. And that's definitely one of the things that helped to redefine the tag team division in NXT. So I would say that I completely agree that the Revival stood out as the tag team of the year for NXT. So when you're looking at some of the other categories or things that we had that have taken place, one of the things you'll want to look at is you want to look at the top superstar of NXT, the main guy, the main man. Now, what you missed was a discussion between Rob and Brian. You may have caught the beginnings of it. But anyway, there was a discussion between Rob and Brian about who the top superstar for NXT was. And I think that while many people would say Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, and I think that there's an argument for each guy, it's really difficult to not point out the... well, there's no easier way to put it than this. The glorious rise to power that Bobby Roode has had in a very short amount of time. Bobby Roode is, for lack of a better word, he is a veteran of the industry that has not necessarily reinvented himself, because I think the character himself is very similar, if not exactly the same, to what his TNA character was. But he's caught fire. He has caught lightning in a bottle. And with the popularity that he has seen in such a short amount of time, with the fan appeal, with the gospel choir singing him to the ring, I mean, the glorious bombs that Team DIY did, which were just hilarious. How can you not identify Bobby Roode as the top NXT superstar? I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, both men, have really taken it up a level. And I think Shinsuke will continue to carry that banner for at least the next 6 months. Samoa Joe could be getting called up soon. But I think if you're looking at the guy that's had the fastest rise to stardom and probably the most impactful, also point intended, I'd have to agree and say that it was one Bobby Roode, the glorious one himself.
Isn't he like number one contender now or something like that?
He is. He is getting the title shot at NXT TakeOver in San Antonio the night before the Rumble.
I don't see them putting the title on anymore.
The only reason they would do that, in my opinion, is if Nakamura's getting the call up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you call Nakamura up for the Rumble?
I could see Nakamura being one of the surprise entrants in the Rumble. I could see definitely Joe in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see Bobby Roode in the Rumble. I mean,
what about Ty Dillinger, especially if he comes in at number 10? 10!
And you heard it here first. We're calling the WWE on shenanigans already. What are
Well,
we,
the fans
weeks away
already,
from it?
every time they start the count for somebody being out of the ring, it's 10, 10, 10. They don't even care. They're just saying 10. They go count the 3 count. They count 1, 2, 3. But when outside the ring, they're all saying 10. It's hard to argue with the popularity that Ty Dillinger has.
I mean, I think you'll see like we did last year in the Rumble. You'll see some surprise people. You know, could that be where Jeff Hardy makes his return to the WWE at the Rumble?
Could it be Kurt Angle?
They say his date's been set.
That's right. What about this? I always like to play with the rumor mill and talk about the gossip. What if the rumors are finally true and they actually bring back Steve Austin?
No.
Now, he swears up and down he's done. He's got no reason to come back.
He done.
He doesn't want to do anything to tarnish his legacy. What if it's all been a snowball? What if we've all been worked?
Don't think so.
Well, I mean, we were all worked for how many years with HBK? Supposedly his back wasn't good enough, and da-da-da. And then he came back and did a couple-year run. You know? Ended the career of Ric Flair. You know? Until Ric Flair showed back up on TNA the next day.
I will never retire.
I just don't think either one of them are would be able to compete. I mean, you're one pile driver per se.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, away from probably using a wheelchair the rest of your life.
And the last time we saw Shawn Michaels, he didn't even look like he was really fit enough to walk outside.
Well, I don't think you see Shawn Michaels. Like, it's like what I kind of think about Goldberg. You know? Like, you do this whole angle where he, you know, gets the title one more time.
Mm-hmm. And then what? Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, basically what you're doing is you're saying to the other people that work 360 days a year, you know, because they do get 5 days off a year.
Yeah, you gotta have a heart.
That, you know, wait a minute, you know, you got those couple people sitting there, they're waiting, like we said, you know, Brian and I were joking, I don't know if it had got put on there or not, about the Charlotte and Sasha feud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that there's a woman wrestler in the back that they're like, it's your turn as soon as this is over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute, now we're going on another one. Oh, wait a minute, you know, like, oh, wait a minute, nope. Now we're going to put Nia Jax. Oh, nope. And so, you know, what do you do with the person next in line? Then you bring Goldberg in and be like, all right, we're going to put the belt on him.
I think with each return they do with like Brock Lesnar, what they did with him, what they're looking at is more of a dollars and cents kind of gain. And I think that the talent that is, to your point, next in line, that's getting overlooked, I think it's a slap in the face to them, and it's unfair. But earnings-wise, for what the company is bringing in with these people, I think you made a point earlier about a lack of confidence or trust, or maybe it was Brian, on new faces.
That was BP.
So when you're looking at Goldberg coming in and winning the title, they know that he's marketable. They know that they can make a profit, make money off of him. And they know that the window on his money making is limited. So I don't know. I mean, we talked about it before. I think we've all agreed that they probably would put the belt on him just to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But
it was stupid not to.
I mean, the one thing that catches up with everybody is time. And he's only going to be able to work so many dates as it is. I think that they kind of learned their lesson from Brock Lesnar with having somebody that's only working but so many dates. Because as we've seen with Brock Lesnar, as soon as they run up on or coming up on the end of the dates that he's scheduled to work, oh, quick, let's renegotiate. Let's get more dates on the book so we can get him on this show and that show.
I mean, it's like this. I could see him doing what I would love to see The Undertaker do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to see, like we talked earlier, about the rumor mill is the Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. What if that's Cena versus The Undertaker for the world title at WrestleMania?
Mm.
The Undertaker swan song. You know? The Undertaker wins the belt from John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Monday night on Raw.
Retires.
Or Tuesday on SmackDown.
SmackDown live.
The belt's sitting in the middle of the ring. Like the belt's sitting on a table in the middle of the ring. The black smoke comes in. The minions come in and dong. And the belt's just there. Like the Undertaker's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I did it. I'm out.
Yep.
and then you have a tournament to crown the champ. You know, a true tournament where you do a pay-per-view. It's not one of these like we're gonna have a tournament, but every month, every week, we're gonna have another match. So by the time the tournament, the pay-per-view comes, it's gonna be 2 people. And if you're smart enough to look at the graphic on the shadow figures, you can figure out who it is.
Well, you could probably carry a tournament like that to WrestleMania.
You could.
However, my feelings on that would be simply that everybody that has half a brain is going to figure out that was not based on talent or work or anything. It was just simply, we're going to give it to you one last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the dumbest thing in the world, just to hand somebody a title. And even The Undertaker. But I wouldn't mind seeing a tournament, don't get me wrong, but I just hate the whole, let's give you the title just to give you the title.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean...
And just like Brock Lesnar, John Cena should utterly destroy The Undertaker. And we're not talking The Undertaker 10 years ago. We're talking The Undertaker now.
Well, he said he's back, ready for digging holes and taking souls.
And then
that's
he's gone.
Why you haven't seen him. Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe his new hip gave him problems.
You know, like, I'm digging holes and taking souls, but I'm also going to take the check and go.
Oh, wow.
Because I mean, you would think after what he said, and Dean Ambrose turned on AJ, that he would have showed up and taught Dean Ambrose a lesson.
Yeah.
Or say he's come back full time, you would think, all right, now take Shane McMahon out of the equation for Survivor Series, and you put the man who debuted in the Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else? I mean, you debuted, your career started in Survivor Series.
Yeah, they could have.
As
could have done so much though, and they didn't. I don't care what the rumors say. I don't think he is in ring shape, and I think that's why you haven't seen it.
I think it was a bad idea to trot him out there. I mean, they did it because it was SmackDown's 900th episode, but I think it was a bad idea to trot him out there and get everybody's hopes up. You get the appearance, here's your Undertaker sighting for the year, and then that's it.
Same thing they did with John Cena. Like, you think about it. They trotted John Cena out here last week. The ratings were, John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
He comes out the first thing. The crowd is instantly against him, like always. And then he does what all these other people have done. He's like, all right, I'm back. I'm not a part-timer.
Yep.
I'm challenging for the world title at WrestleMania, at Royal Rumble. Somebody should have come out right then, or Daniel Bryan should have come out right then and said, thank you, but you need to work your way back up the ladder again.
God, that would have been awesome.
Like, I understand, Mr. John Cena, Mr. Almost going to be 16-time world champ. But you know what? There's other people been in line longer than you.
Yep.
Get to the back of the line, work your way up.
Yeah, I mean...
I like that story. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and especially with Cena, he could have done it so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have let him fight his way back in, and at the Rumble, have him win the Rumble.
Yep.
And that would put him right to the front of the line.
And there's his moment.
And there's his moment. And again, at WrestleMania, which I think it should happen at anyway. So,
when you look at the upcoming picture for WrestleMania, as we're talking about kind of the things that we've already seen, you already know that at least, well, I guess we don't really know anything for certain, but the strongest word on the street is that this is supposed to be The Undertaker's last WrestleMania. He's supposed to be done after this. What we also know is that for Royal Rumble, they're supposed to be pulling out all the stops. They're trying to make it just as big as WrestleMania because of the size of the stadium they're in, 60,000 people. So, we heard rumblings, I want to say, back when they first did the brand split, that possibly one of the Rumble could actually be for one of the titles. Is it too late in your mind to do that still?
Well, how long do you have till the Rumble?
4 weeks.
4 weeks? Is any pay-per-views in between?
Nope.
I mean, the only thing
thankfully, guys, we've got a little bit of a break between pay-per-views.
Wait, there are no pay-per-views at all? Just
nope.
Straight to the Rumble?
Well, I mean, I think the only legitimate angle you could do is Kevin Owens refusing to defend the title on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pull a Daniel Bryan, and they're like, all right, if you don't defend it, you're stripped of it.
Yep.
And so then he's like, I'm not going, or something happened, and they say, all right, well, you didn't do it. And then it's for the Universal title. But there's really no storyline going on right now that's going to end up vacant unless someone gets hurt.
Well, and then speaking of injuries, Heath Slater tweaks his knee on Tuesday night. He's okay, that I heard, or that I saw. He tweeted that out, that he had seen the doctor and that he's banged up. It'll be okay. Zack Ryder, on the other hand, not as lucky. Ruptured his patella tendon.
Anyway, did you see him hold off Mojo?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Because Mojo's jumping up
ring,
and down,
and you can see in the corner of the screen, he's just like,
he didn't stop him from basically tackling him on the apron either. But
and then the cameraman's like, "This is just a work."
I mean, Zack Ryder's out.
I know you tore your patella
now.
and your sphincter maximus, but I'm going to zoom right in on you.
I think, with one of the concerns we saw last year was there were so many injuries, and it seems as we head to the Rumble, which is right around that time that it happened last year, we got more injuries coming back. Now, there is it's kind of a swell going on, a buzz, that Finn Balor could make his return at the Rumble. Now, he wasn't expected to be back until WrestleMania. That was the predicted recovery time. And he was hurt at SummerSlam. So, SummerSlam was August, so we're talking 5 months, realistically. From surgery to...
Because he did basically the same thing
Rumble.
Didn't he do the same thing that Sami Zayn did?
Yeah, very similar. Very, very similar. It took Zayn almost a year.
But
Different
don't you
shows.
think that WWE is smart enough to say, hey, I know you've done this, but you need to tell people you've done this, and tell people you're going to be out for this?
Yeah.
So that when he does show up at the Royal Rumble, should he, the crowd will just literally go nuts.
Have we not learned anything from Star Trek? I mean, Scotty said it himself. You always tell the captain it takes you twice as long to fix something than it really does. So then you look like a miracle worker.
Right.
And you fix it in half the time.
Yeah, I mean, especially in like Cena's case.
Yeah.
So you just add months to it, and he shows up early, and all the crowd goes nuts.
Seth Rollins is another example. Last year when he hurt his knee at Survivor Series, he wasn't expected back until SummerSlam. And he came back at Money in the Bank.
Well, I think also the
much
problem... I think my opinion, and I'll shut up. My opinion is...
You can't shut up. It's a show with you in it.
And I've said it's like I'm going to shut up 5 times. So I just keep talking.
We'll throw something.
I think I heard it on another podcast, and they were talking about...
Wait,
We don't do podcasts.
you dirty traitor.
I was listening to a podcast.
Benedict Arnold of C2C Radio.
No, it's called Research.
Oh, listen to that. You hear that?
That's our
Research.
broadcast journalist right here.
Research.
Oh, yeah? What happened on TNA?
I don't know. I don't watch TNA.
Hey, guess
TNA
what?
your beat?
Guess what? No one else does either. After Total Nonstop Deletion, you'd think everybody else turned it off too.
The problem is more people paid to see more people paid to go to Jeff Hardy's show than they did regular TNA shows. But no, they were saying that one of the problems with reason wrestlers are getting hurt more and more today, especially in WWE and other places, is because they're doing more high spots.
Yeah.
Like the high spots are becoming every day, every motion. And we've talked about it on this show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sami Zayn, every match is going to go and fly out into the crowd. You know, Dean Ambrose, every match is going to go flying through the ropes at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think he does it every Monday. Now every Tuesday.
Yep.
But he does it probably. He did it at the house shows we were at.
Yeah, and he's probably doing it at every one he goes.
You know, so eventually
Don't catch up.
you're going to hurt something. You know, every time you go flying outside the ring, you know, you're taking that risk.
Can you think of a guy in recent memory who's had the longevity, the health that The Miz has on the current WWE roster? You'd go down the list. Even Dolph Ziggler, who's injury prone from concussion. John Cena every year.
But think about how many high spots The Miz does.
Good point.
Yeah, but Cena, again, they use that old formula. Oh, I've, dislocated my shoulder, and I can't wrestle for 6 weeks. And you find out he's
Making
in
a
a movie.
Yeah. It's a good point.
So not all of Cena's injuries are like legit injuries.
Or he broke his nose and then he shows up the next day with no black eyes, no nothing.
Yeah, I still don't know how the hell that happened.
If that was a work, then it was Hollywood magic at its finest.
Yeah.
Because your nose doesn't go from this part of your face, if you can see at home and you can't, to the
I mean,
ear.
still, come on, we're still talking about the same people that put Ric Flair's head in a cage and slammed the door.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No, that was a different company.
That was WCW.
Yeah, that was WCW.
But there's still some people that still,
Yeah, I did. There's no way that was fake.
When they did that, I mean, you saw pieces popping off the. I mean, even if it was a styrofoam door, they still made the sounds and made it all work. I don't care. That was messed up.
But I mean, it's just. I think.
But here's the thing about those high spots. You remember how it was back in the 80s where I might put you in a headlock for 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be the entire match.
Right.
Do we
And
want to
with the
watch
boss.
that, or do we want to watch...
Well, it's a problem. Your fan base has ADD now.
Well, I don't know if it's ADD or if the WWE has
Hi, I'm Tom.
picked up more of what everybody else has been doing. New Japan's done it for years.
Mm-hmm.
CMLL has done it for years.
Well, CMLL is where Pero Aguayo Jr. died, and they kept working the match. They just moved him out of the way.
But what I'm saying is some federations have been doing it much longer than us. I mean, I can remember back in the 80s and hearing about, the Japanese way of wrestling or the Mexican way of wrestling. It was completely different.
Or when the Rockers came in. The Rockers, back when they were the Midnight Rockers, before they came to WWE, they wrestled with very much that style in AWA and World Class. And then when they came to WWE, they had the WWE-fied their
They did.
They
toned them down.
Vince-ified their wrestling style.
Yeah, to me, it's just an evolution of American wrestling.
Well, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that when you're
we know
day in and
you
day
like
out,
your headlocks. We got it, bro.
Day in and day out, you're doing these high spots.
Cauliflower. That's not how you do a headlock. Come here.
No.
But it's just the nature of the business.
So
that's why I think their booking book is laminated, and they just keep. Shit! Finn
got
got hurt.
They use a dry erase marker.
It
looks like Balor, but it really says Rollins. We're just messing with it.
The one who's thanking Finn for getting hurt is old Kevin Owens.
Oh yeah, he took.
Because I don't think Kevin Owens would be in the spot he is if Finn Balor hadn't gotten hurt.
Well, I think he would be.
He would be there, but not now.
But not in number one. I think
Right.
he'd be number two, fighting for the title.
He'd be chasing.
Right, instead of holding the title.
So, okay, kind of getting back into what we were talking about. Let's start with SmackDown. Top tag team on SmackDown.
Bray and
The new
Randy?
Wyatt family. Yeah.
And Luke.
Rob, what do you think?
American Alpha.
American Alpha. I noticed neither one of you said Rhino and Heath Slater.
No, that was.
Come on, man.
That was a nice little storyline, but you had to know it wasn't going to last long.
I'm glad it's done.
Nah, well, again, I enjoyed.
I think
rooting for the man with 7 kids.
I think for the last, what they need to start doing is drug testing the talent.
Yeah.
Not drug testing like the talent. I'm talking about the people who sign these people to contracts. Because somebody in the WWE headquarters is smoking a wacky weed.
Well, I mean, if James Ellsworth can get a job, then any man with 2 fists has a fighting chance. I would probably say that I would probably have to agree that the Wyatt family was probably the most surprising and most dominant once they got it together. I still don't really understand why they took the belts off of them so early, but it doesn't mean they can't win them back. It's just a surprise to me. That's where I probably struggle with it the most, is that it's more of a surprise seeing them jockey those belts around from different teams.
I think they'd be great. The Wyatt family is a great, chaser.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mental games that Bray Wyatt can play.
Yeah.
Is awesome. But is American Alpha the team you want them to play the mental games on?
You know, that's a good question because American Alpha is, from what we saw, the heir apparent. They were the chosen team.
I mean, it was just like when, it's just like when any team, when AJ finally showed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a matter of time before, he was going to get the title.
Right.
It's like American Alpha when they finally got the call up. They're getting the title. Because who other realistically in that genre, that federation right then, can get it? You're not going to give it to Ascension. You've already punked them out. You punked them out when they first showed up.
Kind of makes you wonder if Mojo and Zack Ryder had still gotten the title shot. Would the Wyatts still have it, or would the Hype Bros have gotten it?
Again,
I think the Hype Bros, if they had it, the Wyatts would have. Imagine Mojo with Brace mind games.
He stays hyped. What do you think about
the Hype House?
What do you guys think of the women's division on SmackDown? Would you say that Becky Lynch stands out as the top one? Alexa Bliss? Maybe it's Nikki Bella for you? What do you think?
Total package?
Yeah.
Becky Lynch. And total package being mic skills, ring work.
I thought you were talking body, but hey, that works
that too. But I'm just thinking, I think Alexa Bliss has a great ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's great in the ring. I just think her mic skills, like, sometimes when she does things and angles, it's just like, really?
I like Alexa Bliss a lot. I think that Becky was probably the most solid choice for the face of their division. Other than Nikki Bella, I don't think Nikki Bella is a bad talent at all. I think she's improved quite a bit. She's not quite as polished and talented as Becky Lynch or Alexa, of course, but
I don't think Nikki can go toe to toe with the new female roster that they have.
She's definitely a couple steps behind them, I think. Brian, what do you think? Top female on SmackDown?
I would probably say Alexa. To be 5 foot nothing and to be able to wrestle somebody that's 2 heads above her and make it look good.
And to fool us into thinking she had a broken arm.
Yeah, even I was like, oh, damn. My daughter was like, oh, look at that. Did she break it? I said, no, she's probably double jointed. What's double jointed mean? So then I had to try and explain to her.
Let me show you. Oh, I'm not double jointed.
See, honey, when I bend your elbow like this, it shouldn't pop.
Pop.
But that's a neat little trick, though. Let me tell you what, that's a neat little trick. Oh, you're double jointed. Well, we're going to use that tonight.
You're going to what?
Yeah. We want you to go out there and at the end of the match, just throw your elbow, make it look like you done broke it.
So, with that being said, I think we've got different opinions here. I think Becky Lynch to Alexa Bliss, there's an argument for either side there. What about the top male talent there on SmackDown Live? The top guy.
AJ.
I would agree. I think AJ Styles had the best 2016 of any WWE performer.
I mean, I think of anybody who has accomplished what AJ has on the local circuit and all the other federations, to come to WWE and do what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't follow the same suit as everybody else. Like, oh, you're this great guy over here, and Vince does what he normally does and says, you know what, well, I'm going to show you, I'm Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put you in a monkey suit and have you sitting over here. They put the belt on him and look.
And Vince was the guy. Vince was the one that was like, nah, I love this guy. He's getting the belt, and he's going to the top. And he did. And I think even though in your first year with WWE, regardless of where you were before, they kind of consider you a rookie, I think AJ Styles broke that mold.
I mean, his reaction last year at the Rumble.
Oh, yeah. That was probably one of the loudest reactions I've heard for just a debut.
Because we knew he'd been signed. Mm-hmm. But even the rumors didn't get out that he was going to show up at the Rumble.
Right.
I mean, it was just like, oh, it's months down the road, you're going to see him on TV. And
because we didn't know if he was going to NXT, if he was going to the main roster. We knew him and the club were signed.
I just don't understand why they broke up the club. I still don't understand.
I think they probably have something in mind for Gallows and Anderson, and It's just going to take him a while to get there. Now, I will say about AJ, did y'all notice that Tuesday he had no club on him at all?
No.
I noticed he wasn't wearing black and blue.
Yeah,
I don't think
his vest has the AJ logo.
Mm-hmm.
There was no club on his pants, no club on the jacket, no nothing.
I don't think we're too far from seeing a face turn for AJ. Because you kind of have to. Organically, the crowd loves him anyway. But I also don't think we're too far from John Cena being a bad guy finally. He is now at that point in his career where The Rock was, where he can turn bad and still do what he needs to do.
But I don't.
But will Cena do it?
I mean, his interview on Tuesday was, "I don't like this new era."
Yeah.
He
He was angry. He was like a curmudgeon almost.
was back shades of his whole rapper self.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Agreed.
But will he ever make the turn?
I mean, by today's definition, a heel turn could be just as simple as maybe not giving the finger to the fans, but hitting a low blow and getting the win.
Yeah.
Kind of like AJ did.
But we've discussed this before. Not AJ, but Cena is the type of performer
Mm-hmm.
that could do what Hogan did
Mm-hmm.
and tell the little kids, thugonomics, thug life, you can't see me, all this crap, and the kids are going to eat it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn around in the same breath, insult every adult in the place,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids would not be smart enough to figure it out.
And
but the adults would boo the piss out of them.
And Cena did that in his promo on Tuesday, talking about how 2016 it wasn't very super for old Super Cena. Taking these little jabs, these little pokes at the smarter fan, the adult or the late teens, kind of going after.
Because they start saying Undertaker, and he's like, "Yeah, that's rumored."
Yeah, and I liked that because he was concentrating on people who are trying to plan my future, trying to tell me what I'm going to do next. I haven't even left yet, and I like that direction. A more serious John Cena, I think, is beneficial for everybody involved. He doesn't necessarily have to be like an angry, like an actual heel or face, but I think a more serious John Cena benefits him. And I think it benefits the company. Let's change gears here. Let's go ahead and...
Now, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
His tagline is, "You can't see me." If he turns villain or heel, what would his tagline be?
You can't hear me?
You can't hear me.
You can't deny me?
You can't stop me.
Eat, poop, and die.
I think Brian just won.
Yeah, I mean, but if Cena were to change to a more serious Cena, he doesn't need it. Again, I think he's smart enough to come up with promos where he's not going to need all that gimmicky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could come out in a three-piece suit, Armani, and talk about. I mean, he could almost pull a Flair. Hey, this is a real Rolex, and all this stuff.
What if they turn? What if they do one of these matches, and Cena's the new member of the club? They bring Cena out as, they basically do what a Hogan did.
My gosh, yeah.
Cena comes out in the middle of the match, and there's like, the top baby face, and Cena's just like, bam!
To me, that would work if there was a
Clear line.
a Ring of Honor or New Japan connection somehow.
You would have to find, to be the guy, the fall guy for that, you would have to find a babyface that would generate so much sympathy. You'd almost need like a Ricky Morton to sell the betrayal. Roman Reigns can't do that. Dean Ambrose can't do it. Randy Orton can't do it.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true, because if you take a group, right, and you just, the thing that made the Horsemen work was not only were they the best, but they were like so in your face. They were so annoying to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then they would back it up. So if you found, let's say the Wyatts would be perfect for this.
Right.
Let's say Bray comes out and says, "Look, no more fooling around. AJ, I'm coming for you." and then they jump AJ in the back, and then they catch him at the restaurant, you know, and then they catch him at the gas station. They run him, you know. You see what I'm saying? They just keep driving AJ down. Well, that turns AJ face without anybody realizing it.
Right.
And they just keep on him and on him and on him and on. And eventually he needs that help. Well, where are you going to get it from? Well, you would get it from a guy like Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same principle. You just flip the script and use, you know, the guys, you know, as far as, you know, getting him to turn bad. You would have AJ just keep going after, say, Ellsworth.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you know, just keep destroying Ellsworth. Every chance. Ellsworth is perfect, too. And just destroys him. And then he's got the better of him. Cena's like, well, I've had enough of this crap. He can be sitting at the announce table. So everybody in the ring here, oh, I'm tired of this. No, you're not picking on Ellsworth no more. Stands up, throws the headset down, jumps in the ring, drops Ellsworth, rips open the shirt. And there you go. It's not hard with Cena. Half the arena hates him anyway.
Well, that's
Or
just
boos
it.
him.
But that's
Because
just
it's
it.
cool to boo him.
Right, it's cool to boo him.
And if Cena were to turn, would it work? Can you turn the crowd truly against John Cena?
Well, the problem with Cena is much like The Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The crowd, the part of the crowd that booed him,
We'll cheer him now.
will now cheer him.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right,
Because
It's
there are
cool
a
to
bunch
cheer
of
for
fans
him
in
now.
there waiting.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everybody's waiting for him to go bad. We want Hollywood Cena, if that makes sense, because Hollywood Cena is going to be so cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
If he does it, that would be cool.
I mean Hollywood Hogan. I hated red and yellow, or yellow and red Hogan.
But you didn't like Hollywood Hogan either.
Oh yeah, I was down with Hollywood Hogan. We all fell into the NWO
I mean,
after a while.
you know what? I think it was when he started using Voodoo Child. If I had to pinpoint it to anything, because that was cool.
Remember
After about
the
a year, I
NWO?
just got tired of how many people were going to bunked out. Then you got the NWO, then the Wolfpack, then the Latino World Order, and I'm like, really?
But remember the NWO at its core.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan,
Hall and
Hall, and Nash. We all loved them
Yeah.
little promos.
Mm-hmm.
We ate it up. We fell for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they fooled us.
And then how many years did we sit there and go, all right, Hogan's coming out. Hogan's going to come out to red and yellow. Red and yellow. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Hollywood.
Mm.
Then he used it there for, like, came out red and yellow, and he's like, no.
Yeah, he went right back to Hollywood.
And he went to Hollywood because he's like, this takes difference. My favorite Hogan memory is the Hogan's Knows Best TV show. When Linda walked in on him sitting in the closet, and he's sitting on the floor in the closet, and he's got his boots on, unlaced, he's got the bow around his neck, he's just sitting there. And she's like, am I interrupting?
Well, I guess maybe she kind of found out the answer because she got about half of his millions. Now, he did get that half back, though.
But you know,
Hardest working man in wrestling.
getting back to Cena, you know, again, it wouldn't take much to make him the most hated man in wrestling. I mean, all he have to do is steal a line from Buff Bagwell.
Oh, God, that'd be great.
You people
God,
are so
stupid.
stupid. And the half the arena that now started to cheer for him, it will probably throw stuff at him.
What about, because we're getting ready to go into Raw, what if it was a guy like Kevin Owens that had to finally play the patsy? He
Well, I
gets
think
beat
that's
down.
going to happen anyway.
I think that would be. I think you would generate sympathy for Kevin Owens because for some reason he has this innate charisma that draws people to him. So if you put him in a situation where the odds are against him and he gets beat down, to your point, repetitively, they start catching up with him outside. They catch up to him at a restaurant, and then finally he needs to get help, and he goes full babyface to get John Cena to rescue.
Because somebody could be like, you know, one of the people jumping him could be like, oh, you couldn't even get John Cena to come help
yeah,
you.
you don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. You know,
Well,
they would throw that at
Not
him.
even John Cena would help you.
Right, and then there's John Cena.
What you do, though, is you take Jericho.
Why aren't we writing for this
Oh,
company?
this is beautiful. You take Jericho. Look at what happened on Monday
Mm-hmm.
when he gets the U.S. title shot.
Oh, that was
And
good.
Jericho's just staring at him.
Yeah.
All right? So you let Reigns and Seth Rollins, and Jericho and Owens keep going at it, and eventually Jericho short arms.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there it is right there. There's a full flip right there in
Yep.
one single move. Owens becomes this huge baby face.
Mm-hmm.
The Shield can not just like wrestle good guys, just destroy him, power bomb him through the table right
Right.
on down the line, and celebrate with Jericho. And then for a couple of weeks, you run the three of them beating the tar out of Owens, interfering in matches, catching them in the back, whatever. And there it is. Well, you ain't got nobody going to come help you on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't have any friends here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when it pops at Raw, yeah, that's going to be a loud reaction.
We should be writing for this company.
It's not hard.
Call me, Vince. My phone number hasn't changed. You know,
Steal an idea.
the-
We don't care.
the one
You
you've
know,
got
just
blocked. It hasn't changed.
Pay us for it eventually.
So let's go ahead and talk about what the year was for Raw. For the tag team of the year with Raw. You can't disregard the New Day and the dominant run they had. You can't disregard, the appearances of Enzo and Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus, or as I call them, Cesaro. I mean, there's been a lot of tag teams there. Sheamus. So, tag team of the year for Raw, do you just arbitrarily give it to the New Day?
As much as I didn't like them there towards the end,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it to them. I mean, they held it for what, damn near the entire calendar year?
They did. They won it at SummerSlam the year prior and held it through SummerSlam almost to the Rumble. Got to give them credit for that. You have a gimmick that is over so huge that the company feels comfortable letting you just do whatever you want with 15 minutes of time on TV.
And it starts off so bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, when they first started to get to New Day, it was almost like the Nation.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods is like, don't do this. Don't let them tell you what to do. Join with me. And at first, we're excited. We're like, man, we're going to see like this militant group. We're going to see them get their spot. They're finally going to get a chance. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing these promos where it's a gospel group and they're clapping, New Day rocks. And you're like, what? This sucks. And everybody's doing New Day sucks.
Well, then it became a comedy skit.
It did. And then all of a sudden, we decide that we're going to finally pay attention to a little guy named Xavier Woods, who turns the New Day, in my opinion, I think he's the key, turns the New Day from comedy to comedy gold, and ultimately one of the most dominant tag teams that's going to be in this era, I would say.
I mean, I would say that you can't argue with the tag team of the year, but when have you seen a tag team or a group that made their debut like Enzo and Cass? And everybody, when they showed up on Raw,
everyone knows what they
everybody knew word for word. When's the last time you've ever seen that?
I can't think of a time where we've ever seen it, to be honest.
I mean, they did. I mean, Grant, that shows you the power of NXT.
Very true.
It's like that whole arena knew word for word what that was. Everybody now in the dictionary knows that soft is spelled a different way.
Soft?
You know what I mean? But also shows you that you take Carmella and she does the same gimmick, and by herself,
crickets. And she still does it now, and she's a bad guy.
I'm the princess of Staten Island.
And everybody's like, what? No, you're not.
No, you're just the...
Where's Enzo? Where's Cass?
Well, yeah, but I would imagine Carmella's about to get over big when she screws Ellsworth. Although, I'd be curious to know if they're not going to have Ellsworth wrestle the women for like some intergender title or something.
The new Andy Kaufman. Oh, no.
I mean, think about it. He's the right size to probably wrestle Carmella.
He's La Luchadora.
Come to think of it, it could have been a prosthetic chin. The new chin sensation.
I just think it's funny he even made fun of himself.
Chin sanity.
On Tuesday.
I don't have a chin.
It's the chin possible dream.
But you gotta give it, there's about 90,000 local wrestlers that are just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. They're cussing because Ellsworth, who they thought would never amount to jack squat, has a full-time deal with WWE, is making that money.
They're like, I got my ass whipped by Braun Strowman too. You don't see me get a check.
Well, let's look at the women's division, the women's version of Braun Strowman, Nia Jax. When you talk about most dominant women on Raw, the picture's pretty obvious, much like the tag team. So let's talk about the monster of the women's division, Nia Jax. I personally think that she's still not ready for TV. I think she's out of her element.
I agree to a degree. I think that they're doing the same thing to for Braun Strowman to her, feeding her all these unknown female wrestlers, and why? I mean, she needs a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
She needs somebody to come out and talk for her. I mean, where is it, we need the wrestler, the manager of this day, like the Heenan, like Bobby Heenan, or someone who had a family. Where is the mouthpiece of this, somebody to come out and say, all right, she's going to come out and kick your ass. If you don't give her what she wants, she's going to kick your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Or be the enforcer. What happened to that gimmick we haven't seen 500 times?
I mean, why not? I mean, they do it so much with Dana Brooke now. Why not just put her with Charlotte, put Dana Brooke as her mouthpiece?
You never know. She did attack Sasha.
Yeah.
So you never know where that plays out yet.
Because they said, remember the whole angle where they brought Nia Jax out, and Sasha's like, yeah, I know you want me, but you got to wait until I'm done.
Yeah.
What? What?
Well, I guess
that's like somebody like James Ellsworth going up to Braun Strowman going,
that would be so funny. And Strowman would eat his arm.
I mean, that's like you're that's like back in the day with Andre the Giant coming down there and be like, and him, like, if he would have grabbed Hogan and Hogan just looked at him going, no.
See, the thing is, I don't think Hogan would have ever did that, like, without his permission.
You know what I mean?
Mr. Andre, is it okay if I...
Nia Jax should have thrown Sasha into the second row.
I mean, realistically speaking, from the position she's in, there should not be anybody that even lays a finger. I mean...
Well, you'll have... The problem is you blazed a trail in NXT of her losing to
yes,
quote-unquote wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Braun Strowman, who literally, if he decides not to move, isn't going nowhere.
That's right.
With Jax, though, she can get out-wrestled.
Speaking of Strowman, would you agree that he has actually started to get the crowd behind him?
Yeah, that's because they... I've talked about, like, Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that big, why do you allow a superstar like that to just get punked out on a weekly basis?
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what they should have done with the Big Show. It's what they did with him in WCW.
Yep.
And look at how long it took him to get that world title. Mm-hmm. And at the time, he was the youngest world champion ever. It's right. Exactly what they need to do with Strowman, because Strowman is monstrous. Let him destroy people. Just keep him away from Owens and, some of the other people for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And just let him destroy everybody else. And the crowd loves it because he just goes out there and obliterates people. And they love it. Except for Rob, apparently. Rob's not a big Strowman fan. That's a shake no for those of you that can't see that.
I mean, they even had the chance. They had, like, the Goldberg-esque chance. And we still don't really know if they were piped in or if the fans were just doing it organically. Keep in mind, it was in Chicago. So anything could happen there.
Yeah,
it's like Montreal. It's like Bizarro Land.
But in order for them to pipe those chants in, they have to have had them recorded from somewhere.
So there's Strowman. I mean, that's the chants that are going on in the main event where he's throwing Roman Reigns around. He's throwing.
No, I mean, I like that. I like that angle where he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I like where they, he said, to Mick Foley, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some competition, and he goes down there and takes out the main eventers. That's cool. That shows that, wait a minute, I'm not just sitting in the back.
And doesn't it always? Doesn't
then-
it also elevate Sami Zayn in that position too?
But then what do? You know, look at Sami Zayn. He wrestled Kevin Owens for how many months? And then now, if you stay in a ring, if you stay alive for 10 minutes with Braun Strowman,
you're the winner.
I mean, what is the wrestle the bear? You can't book the bear. Wrestle the bear.
So here we are playing Be the Booker. We got a last man standing match. Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn. That's supposed to be this Monday, tomorrow night.
Zayn wouldn't last 5 minutes.
And that's the thing. If you're really keeping true to what Braun Strowman's done, Zayn doesn't make it out of this match. He gets stretchered out.
Because Braun Strowman said, I allowed him to last 10 minutes.
Right. And again, that...
So you can't make him win, or then you would just deflate everything you've done with Braun Strowman.
Right. And then you start over with Strowman, because as soon as he loses, it's just like Goldberg. As soon as that streak is broken, it's broken. You can never put it back together. So you have to find another way.
Zayn should be the one guy that Strowman beat the tar out of him every time they got in the ring, and next year's WrestleMania with Strowman in the world title, you put Zayn in it and have Zayn beat Strowman.
Right.
That makes sense. But to have him beat him on a Raw in a last man standing match when...
And it does seem like they are priming Sami Zayn for something big. This is very similar to what they did with Rey Mysterio, very similar to what they did with Daniel Bryan, the underdog, the guy that no one expects to come out on top. And I honestly believe that the smartest thing to do, and I am a big Sami Zayn fan, but the smartest thing to do is 5-6 minutes into this last man standing match, Zayn is stretchered out. He doesn't get pinned, he doesn't give up, but he's stretchered out. They take him out, so that way he saves face as a good guy. He didn't quit. They stopped it. He got hurt, whatever the case may be. Que sera, sera.
I agree. My ass is hurting a little bit on that bench. I'm just like,
So, Superstar of the Year for Raw. You got Kevin Owens. You got Seth Rollins. Some would say Roman Reigns. Some would say Rusev.
Who said that?
I'm just saying some people. Not me.
Are you down in the mental psych ward somewhere going, who's your favorite wrestler?
Rumor has it.
Jesus.
Would it be Finn Balor for his performance up to SummerSlam?
I don't think Finn Balor had enough
time.
Airtime.
I don't think he had enough time on the main roster to compete in either one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Owens.
Had a pretty meteoric rise very quickly.
I mean, his matches with Sami Zayn
Mm-hmm.
before he got pushed to the Universal title, his matches with Sami Zayn were match of the year.
Yeah, they stole the show each time out.
They were. It's he and Zayn are like Charlotte and Sasha. All right, Charlotte and Sasha is like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair and Sting. You know, you can have these matches against each other for years to come. Like, you're gonna see Owens versus Sami Zayn again. You know, you're gonna see it because you know it's gonna be a good match. But Owens, it's a good match with anything. I just eventually, Rollins is gonna get the Universal title.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. I just personally can't. I don't like him. I don't like Rollins. He's good. His work ethic's good, and his matches are good. I just don't like his character. I got too tired of the whole whiny. I got the Money in the Bank when he had that and running around.
What do they do when Balor comes back? Do they put it back on Rollins and go back with that storyline? Or do you push Rollins to the side and let Balor and Owens go at it?
I think you put Balor in the top position of the club. Especially if he comes back at the Rumble. What I would do, I would put Balor as the leader of the club. I would have him get his title shot. So let's fast forward. Royal Rumble's over. Balor returns. Doesn't win. Gets eliminated by some odd shenanigans. Rollins wins the belt. Balor comes out, challenges him. It's a face versus face main event on Raw. Out comes the club in the middle of the match. They commence putting the beat down. Balor rolls in, gets ready to stop him, turns, puts the beat down on Rollins. And of course, in the midst of all of this, the match has been made no DQ for whatever reason. Balor wins the belt, takes the club with him, and now you've got Rollins chasing Balor, and he starts all over again.
You know, I really hate that, though. When they roll into the ring and they square up and
Yeah.
they're like, and then right at the last second you see their head turn. You know, it's like, are you in position? Are you ready?
Are they ready, dude?
It's like when they're like, you know who I'm going to come get you? Cricket. Music. Oh, okay. You're like, come on. You can't. There's not a guy in the back sitting there on Pandora going, gotcha.
It's like when they use the chair. Why not just roll into the ring and whack them with a chair? Because it would be a whole lot. You wouldn't expect it, you know. But when they, you know, he squares up and again, you always see that little head turn. It's like, oh, here we go again.
And you always hear it, oh, now it's on.
Yeah.
And then, oh, son of a bitch.
Or they get in
Not
and trying
like
to be
this.
sneaky. You're trying to be sneaky and they slam the chair on the ground, like on the
Yeah.
mat. They're like,
Getting ready.
now, see, what I think would be neat at the Royal Rumble is you got Balor in there, you got the club in there,
Mm-hmm.
you got these people in there fighting, right? They eliminate one person, and it's Balor versus the club. And Balor's sitting there, doing a square up like Brian's saying. And at the last minute, right before they get ready to go, Gallows and Anderson
sweet.
drop it. Too sweet, and get out. Balor wins.
What if Balor were to return at number 30 and win without laying a finger on anybody? Because Gallows and Anderson start dumping people,
And then they get out.
and then they do, oh, that's beautiful.
They stand in the middle of the ring at the end of the Rumble.
Yep. Too sweet me, bro.
But
Over AJ Styles.
Eddie Lane would be like, no!
only if the Young Bucks.
Son of a bitch!
Only if the Jacksons ruined the party. But could Balor be booed at this point? I mean, he would literally have to lose the demon.
Oh, that would suck.
Well, I think he does the Balor Club. And then what happens is, just like with any club, they're going to turn on him eventually.
Yeah.
But
Then he brings the demon back when
To
when
fight
he's-
against him when he turns face again, yeah.
when he turns, it's just one of those things that he disappears, and then all of a sudden,
Jeff Hardy? Is that...
then here comes not
Willow?
Oh, no.
Whatever it is.
That stupid cackle that he
stick
has.
of weed or something.
It's
But-
weed.
But again, he would have to lose the demon.
That's why you don't think of your
That's a
gimmick
bad
while you're
guy.
high. But no, he uses the demon as his revenge when he gets turned on.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I mean, you realize you would have to go for 6 months, a
Without the
year and a
gimmick,
half
without the
without the demon.
Hey, they've gone 6 months without it now.
Well, yeah, but this is different though because now
He
then
can
you
actually
would see
do it,
him
yeah.
wrestling
Yeah.
as opposed to now because he would have to come
Could
out
he
in
be
the
the
leather
only guy-
jacket and.
He could be like Kane. He's a bad guy and he's
Oh,
not the
my
demon.
God,
He's
no,
a good
we
guy.
couldn't
He's
do
the
that.
demon.
Because that was another one I think Jeff Hardy pulled off. Wasn't he like a bad guy as Jeff Hardy, and when he was Willow, he was a good guy.
You know, you might be right about that.
He wrestled twice on the same show.
Yeah, as
And
both
sweet.
as both.
Is Willow and Jeff Hardy.
All you gotta say is, all right, at what point are you, one, naming yourself Inchweed, and two,
I
your
think you said
gimmick
it
is
best
to
when
bring
he was
out
high.
your gimmick is to bring out the weed eater. You know, some guy on the Federation's like, hold up, man, is Blade off that son bitch?
No,
And the blade wasn't off that thing. If you saw it on the total non-stop deletion, the little the
The head.
Fool.
the spool was on there. So when he's coming down the
Can you
ring,
imagine getting smacked with that? Ah!
Yeah, but
No.
I think the Hardys have taken a page out of Vince McMahon's 1980s playbook. We will just come up with the weirdest, craziest crap, throw it in there, and they're gonna love it.
you know, one thing I think people are liking is the change in gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, you never see, until the whole Broken Hardy thing, you never saw a wrestler do multiple stages of his own career until he threw them in the
The Lake of
The Lake
Rejuvenation.
of Rejuvenation. Boom. They come back as this. You know? And then when they had that one match, and Jeff Hardy was all those gimmicks in one match.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know?
I remember that. Delete or Decay.
You know? Needs
That
to have
was
a
cool.
match with somebody that's had, like, the same amount of gimmicks.
You got
Foley.
Foley and you got Hardy.
You know? Foley.
Well, no, you got Kane. He had Isaac Yankem. He had Unabomb. He had Kane. He had Corporate Kane.
Was it Nails? Who had, no, that was a different person. But you
that's
got to give it. Foley still holds the only person to appear in the Rumble three different gimmicks.
times, yeah.
You know, after a certain time, he's just going to be like, I'm tired. Just go in there, throw me out, I'm tired.
Well, they shouldn't let him win it as Mick Foley.
So, we were talking about Raw and SmackDown and NXT's Wrestler of the Year, Women of
Eddie
the Year,
sitting back
Tag
on
Team.
this train is derailed like a motherfucker.
So, TNA, Ring of Honor, top talent for TNA, top talent for Ring of Honor.
For TNA, I'd have to say Matt Hardy.
I would agree.
TNA, the pawn shop owner. No.
The person that holds the deed for TNA
Yeah.
now.
The mystery booker.
Lashley or
They might do the anonymous general manager
Now-
next.
Lashley or Edwards would be close, but I think it's got to be Matt.
I think Matt Hardy for keeping TNA alive. I think
Yeah.
if he hadn't come up with the Broken Hardy gimmick,
They'd have fallen apart a lot sooner.
I mean, everybody tuned in to see what Matt Hardy was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, King Maxwell.
Can you believe we're
and-
talking about Matt Hardy like this?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Remember
crazy.
just a few months ago, I was referring to him as Hobo Hardy.
Yeah, I remember.
He
'Cause
still
like
looks
you
like
said,
Hobo Hardy.
He first started, we're like, what the hell is this?
Because they're talking about they could sell like the wig.
Yeah.
The Hobo wig. Like they do Enzo's hair.
Hey, how about the guy on Raw? Enzo's wig falls off, so he picks it up and he hands it to a fan. So this fan puts it on there and he starts mugging for the camera and starts fixing his hair. I thought it was awesome. Like, I want to be that fan. That's cool.
That's when you whisper going, I got lice, fucker.
Top guy for Ring of Honor.
There's your explicit.
Oh my God, the top guy. That's awful.
Would you
hard.
say Adam Cole, baby? Or would you say Jay Lethal?
Jay
That's
Lethal.
awful hard.
'Cause Lethal had the longest Ring of Honor World Championship reign, and that, to me, is more prestigious of a title reign than that of how long Nikki Bella held it as a Divas champ,
There's a difference between holding a title and not defending it.
and then just dominating a division.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with New Day. How many times did New Day actually defend their
Towards
Their
the
tag
end of their
straps.
run, they were like squeezing in defenses every time they could, but there was a span of at least 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it's the
where
same
it was
thing.
sporadic at
It's the
best,
same thing they give. They give Dean Ambrose the longest reigning U.S. champ,
and he barely defended it.
and it was when he was the Shield. And he never defended the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did, because he won it this year and then didn't defend it until next year.
New Day was the same way. Look at they went for about 4 or 5 months and
Yeah.
didn't defend the damn titles.
They did singles matches. They did skits, but they do one on a pay-per-view, and then that was it.
I mean, the WWE went against their own rule when they let the Miz keep the IC belt, and then go film a movie.
Yeah, that.
The whole thing. Next time they go to somebody, go, "Hey, we want you to be in this movie. You got to drop the belt." Bullshit. You didn't make the Miz do it.
Final thoughts on 2016, guys, as we close this show out. Interesting year, up and down year. What do you think?
I'll be glad when it's over.
Me too.
I think we'll be sitting here next year saying the same thing about the wrestling business.
Business.
I think that we'll be sitting there going, man, if Vince only listened to us, because we've been saying that since 1994.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think he's done listened to me and Stan a couple of times.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I have a tendency to believe, in certain places people don't like to talk about, that old Vinnie Mac has been listening to us way too much.
This brush was great. Or what? How'd it go? Say it.
Oh, no.
No, I can't. Your brush with greatness
Greatness
is
is
over.
over.
If that's not a ripoff, I don't know what is.
Because it's not like, it's not like anybody else was using it ever.
Yeah, that was written on paper, on the net to be seen by everybody and anybody.
In a business where original ideas are so hard to come by, for shame, sir.
Shame.
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 And I'm sure if you go back and look that quote up, you'll probably find Stan's name attached to it before Meat come up with it.
Go Glade bitches.
Imagine being in that production meeting. Hey, Stasiak, I know you got longevity and you got,
A legacy
in the business, but we want you to be called Meat.
Yeah. And then we found this quote on the internet that we really want you to rip somebody off of.
Okay. Well, between him and Jericho and the rest of them.
We still need to. We need to get him
Dr.
on
Sean.
here
Dr. Sean Stasiak.
and figure out where you just come up with that.
I'd be like, and on this day in 1999.
You give me your direct mailing address for the lawsuit.
Well,
That wouldn't even happen in a lawsuit. Just be like, are you saying you came up with it, or did somebody, an agent tell you should start saying this?
But just think how many people over the course of the entire run of WWE, WF, since Vince been running it, how many made stars has he brought up to New York and punked out? Like established stars. Like, look at Dusty Rhodes. You bring in Dusty Rhodes and you put polka dots on him.
I remember, and my knowledge of Dusty Rhodes at that time was limited, but when I saw Dusty Rhodes first come out in WWF, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I couldn't wait, because I knew he was going to have awesome matches with Savage, with Hogan, with DiBiase, any of them. And they put polka dots on him. I'm like,
Sweet Sapphire.
and then they did Sapphire. I'm like, I don't know. But then he had that feud with Savage. I'm like, okay. Then he had the feud with DiBiase. I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. And then they just, nah.
About the only one, I think Ric Flair's probably the only other one they have not straight up punked.
I mean, because they did it to Booker T when he first got there. They did it to Goldberg,
Austin?
kinda. They did it to Austin when he first got there as the ringmaster. Michael Hayes, they told him he had to be Doc Hendricks.
Rick Martel.
Yeah, Rick Martel. He was a great AWA champion.
They made him the model.
Mm-hmm. Wyndham and Rotunda.
Harley Race.
Yep. Harley Race. That's always
King Harley Race.
Yep. Rick Rude.
The Spinebusters.
Arn and Tully.
Anderson
Yep.
and Tully, yeah.
Brainbusters.
Or Brainbusters, whatever. Yeah, that's it, Brainbusters. I'm old. Shit happens. Even the Road Warriors.
Yeah, they didn't call them LOD. I mean, they didn't call them
The
Road Warriors.
Yeah. They called them Legion of Doom.
Right.
And then they turned, well, I guess they try to play reality off of fiction or vice versa with Hawk. But I never agreed with that storyline. I never understood why they wanted to do
but
that.
first you had LOD 2000.
Yeah.
Then you brought him back, and we're all like, all us diehard LOD people were like, finally!
Yep.
And then you had Barry Windham. They made him
The Stalker.
Wasn't he somebody else too?
The Blackjacks.
No.
He was
The Widowmaker.
Yeah, that's it, the Widowmaker.
See, we remember stuff.
And then Steve Kern.
Skinner.
Like
The Repo Man.
Barry Darso made a mint off of Vince McMahon.
Hey, Doink the Clown. Matt Bourne, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, so you figure there's only one or two. Goldberg, the Goldberg's first go round.
Yep.
He got punked like a champ. What? No,
Scott
I guess
Steiner.
not. Benoit, Eddie, they fared pretty
Yeah.
well.
But Scott Steiner got punked out pretty quick.
Scott Steiner.
Rob Van Dam even got punked out when he first got there.
Yeah, but then the second go round made out like a fat bandit too.
Pretty down. Yeah, I'll take that call with drugs.
Weeded bad, okay.
Sick of weed.
Say, sick of no.
ECW and WWE World Champ at the same time.
Yeah.
For a night.
Ruined that one. Way to go,
Congratulations,
dummy.
Rob.
Well,
Come on our show and talk about it.
yeah, we'd love to talk to you. That's going to do it for our year-end edition of Corner to Corner.
Stop panning for people. It's unbecoming. It's uncouth.
I think we need to get Phil Singer back on here.
We definitely do. So
We
we
need a
can get
rematch.
Kraken versus the other guy,
I was robbed.
whose name I can't remember. Lobo. Los Lobo?
Why don't you just shut up? Because now he won't even come on.
Los Lobos kick your... Oh, wait. No, that's not it.
Oh, Thursday!
Folks, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. Have a great New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas and holiday, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
I still got my present.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus.
Have a good one. We will see you the weekend after New Year's. That will be, I believe, January 7th, somewhere around there. But we'll be throwing it up on the Twitter. Thanks again for listening. See ya.
Don't want to be ya.